Beneath the Same Moon. Chapter 1. The Wrong Number. The fluorescent lights of St. Mary's Hospital hummed their familiar tune as Ava Bennett pulled her cardigan tighter around her shoulders. 3 a.m. shifts had a particular kind of loneliness to them, a quiet that pressed against your chest and reminded you that most of the world was dreaming while you were wide awake, tending to those who couldn't sleep. She glanced at her phone as she walked down the corridor, her soft-soled shoes making barely a whisper on the polished floor. A message from her sister Claire glowed on the screen. "How was your day? Call me when you get a chance. Miss you X." Ava's throat tightened. Claire had been checking on her more frequently since their mother's funeral 3 months ago. Sweet, protective Claire, who lived 2 hours away in Brighton with her husband and twin toddlers, trying to mother her older sister through grief while juggling her own chaotic life. She ducked into an empty patient room and closed the door softly behind her. The window offered a view of London's sleeping cityscape, streetlights twinkling like earthbound stars. Somewhere out there, people were falling in love, having adventures, living lives that weren't measured in 12-hour shifts and the steady beep of heart monitors. Ava pulled up Claire's contact and hit the voice message button. She'd learned to whisper these late-night calls. Hospitals had thin walls, and she didn't want to disturb anyone. "Hey, it's me," she began, her voice barely above a breath. "Sorry I missed your call earlier. Work has been... well, you know how it is. Mrs. Patterson in room 12 asked me about Mum today. Apparently, she remembers her from when she was here last year for her hip surgery. I nearly cried right there in front of her." She paused, looking out at the city lights. A plane blinked its way across the dark sky, carrying people to places she'd never been. "I keep thinking about what Mum used to say about the moon," she continued. "Remember? How she'd tell us that no matter where we were in the world, we could look up and know we were both seeing the same moon. It sounded so romantic when I was little. Now it just makes me feel small, like there's this whole world out there, and I'm stuck in this bubble of night shifts and loneliness." Her voice caught slightly. "Sorry, I don't mean to be dramatic. I miss talking to someone who really gets it, you know? Someone who understands what it's like to feel invisible sometimes. Anyway, give the twins a kiss from Auntie Ava. Love you." She hit send and immediately felt the familiar mixture of relief and embarrassment that came with these late-night confessions. Claire would listen without judgment, probably call her in the morning with gentle encouragement and an invitation to Sunday lunch. Her phone buzzed almost immediately. That was fast even for Claire. The message notification showed an unfamiliar number with a +81 country code. Ava's stomach dropped as she realized her mistake. In her tired state, she must have selected the wrong contact, but how had she managed to send a message to someone in Japan? She stared at the phone, mortified. Some stranger on the other side of the world had just received her most vulnerable thoughts about grief, loneliness, and her mother's death. Heat flooded her cheeks as she imagined this person listening to her whispered confession about feeling invisible. Another buzz. A voice message from the same number. With trembling fingers she pressed play, half expecting angry Japanese words or confused questions. Instead, a gentle male voice spoke in careful accented English. "Hello. I think you may have sent this message to me by mistake, but I wanted you to know that I heard what you said about your mother and the moon. I am very sorry for your loss." There was a pause, and she could hear the faint sounds of a city in the background, different from London, somehow busier even at this hour. "My name is Kaito. I am in Tokyo, so it is evening here while it is night for you. I know this is strange, but I wanted you to know that you are not invisible. Your message was beautiful and sad and very real. I hope that is okay to say." Another pause, longer this time. "I understand about feeling small under the same moon. Sometimes I stand on my apartment balcony and wonder if anyone else is looking up at the same time, feeling the same loneliness. Maybe tonight we both were." The message ended, leaving Ava staring at her phone in the dim patient room. Outside, London continued its restless sleep, unaware that across the world, A stranger had just acknowledged her existence in a way that made her feel more seen than she had in months. She replayed the message twice, studying the careful cadence of his words, the gentle sincerity in his voice. Kaito. She'd never heard the name before, but something about the way he'd responded to her accidental confession made her chest feel less tight. For the first time in weeks, Ava found herself genuinely curious about another person. Who was this Kaito in Tokyo? What had he been doing awake at whatever hour it was there? And why had his few gentle words managed to cut through her loneliness more effectively than months of well-meaning check-ins from friends and family? She looked out at the city again, but this time she found herself wondering what Tokyo looked like under the same moon, and whether somewhere across the world a stranger named Kaito was looking up too. If you want to know what's happens to next, subscribe to us. And don't forget to like. See you next chapter.